Chapter 1: Love and Hate. At a train station in Tokyo, Japan, a young man of about 15 years old, named Naruto Uzumaki, was to get on the train to Kuo to start his new life. Naruto is an orphan. He never knew his parents, nor did he have any family members. He has lived in an orphanage since the death of his parents when he was only 2 years old. Naruto's parents died in a car crash, so he has had to do whatever he had to in order to have any happiness. Naruto-kun. Wait, a feminine voice shouted. Naruto turned around to see Mikoto, a woman in her late 30s, with black hair, green eyes, and the body of a 25-year-old model with large breasts, and gathered with her were a group of children ranging from 5 to 10 years old. They came to tell Naruto their goodbyes and wish him the best of luck in the world. Before Naruto left, Mikoto and the other orphans had a little gift for him. "Oh, it feels like the years have passed by so quickly, Naruto-kun. We are really going to miss you," Mikoto said as she walked up to him. "I'm going to miss everyone too, Mikoto-chan," Naruto replied. "Since people were never interested in adopting me. Before you go, Naruto-kun, here, take this with you," Mikoto said as she handed him a green crystal. "Mikoto-chan, what is it?" A surprised Naruto said. "It's a special crystal, Naruto-kun," Mikoto stated with a smile on her face. "If you get into any trouble or anything bad happens to you, this crystal will protect you. This has been my good luck charm since your mother gave it to me." Naruto frowned, as he was always told he got his bad luck from his mother, but smiled quickly. He did not care if it was good or bad luck, because he got something that belonged to his mother. Naruto hugged her. "Thank you, Mikoto-chan. This is the greatest gift I have ever gotten. Promise me you won't get into too much trouble, Naruto-kun. Also, send us a letter or come visit once in a while," Mikoto-chan said with a smile. "I promise I will be on my best behavior and will write or visit whenever I can." "Well, I've got to go now," Naruto waved to them as he moved towards the train. "Goodbye, Mikoto-chan, and bye everyone," Naruto said as he entered the train. "Goodbye, Naruto-kun," Mikoto said. "Goodbye, Naruto and I-san. Come and visit us real soon," the orphan said as they and Mikoto waved goodbye to Naruto. Watching the train leave, Mikoto remembers the dying words of her best friend and Naruto's mother, Kushina. "Mikoto-chan, when my Naruto-kun is old enough to be on his own." Kushina takes a green crystal from her pocket and hands it to Mikoto. "Give this to him, our family's treasure." "I did as you asked, Kushina-chan. I did as you asked." Naruto is now on his own and starting his new life as a man. Naruto is now 16 years old with spiky blonde hair, slightly tanned skin, and bright ocean blue eyes. He is wearing a white button-up long-sleeved shirt, a pair of black jeans, and black and red Converse shoes. He moved to Kuo so that he could start making money and make something of himself. By the time he was 16, he joined Kuo Academy, as it had become a co-ed school. During his time in Kuo Academy, Naruto had formed a great friendship with Murayama and Kate. Even if they don't really hang out with him much, they were nice to him, unlike Issei and his perverted group. He also became friends with another fellow second-year student named Momo Hanakai. The two could often be seen talking and hanging out with one another while at Kuo Academy. Both Momo and Naruto both confided in one another. They considered themselves best friends. That was the feeling of love, something he hadn't truly known since his mother and father died. Mikoto could only give him so much love and affection, but it was never like this. "Look, it's Rias and Akino," a girl squealed, causing Naruto to turn around and see the two great ladies and frown. He had poured out his heart and soul to Rias Grimory in the first year in front of the entire school on Valentine's Day, only to be rejected with her saying, "You are not what I am looking for." He was the laughingstock of the school for weeks. If it wasn't for Momo, Marayama, and Kates, he may have killed himself. 6 months afterwards, he fell in love with the sadistic Akino and decided to try his luck with her, but he decided to ask her out in private. He waited for her to be alone before he approached her with pink roses, they are her favorite, and tried to give them to her, but she rejected him even more swiftly than Rias had, saying, "If you can't even get President's attention, then there is no way you will be getting mine." Then she walked away as tears came out of his eyes. It took Naruto the rest of the year to get over Akino, but he did. At the start of his new year, he saw a girl. She was a first-year student, her name being Kaneko Tuju. His heart started to beat the moment he saw her, and he decided to ask her out before anyone else got the chance. He ran up to her and asked her out, but she ignored him and passed him like he was not there. Even after all three of them rejected him, he still wanted to be with them, and he did not know how until he learned that they were all in a club together. He decided to join the club so he could be near to them, and who knows, they could fall in love with him, but his dream was shut down as he approached them at the club. "This club is for people with special gifts, and you are not one of them," Rias told him. After 2 months of trying to get into the club, he gave up and decided to focus on someone else. His best friend Momo was constantly helping him getting over the 3 girls that rejected him and telling him that they do not deserve such a sweet guy like him. So he thought that maybe she liked him, but unexpected things happened. Naruto had finally gathered his courage and approached Momo. "Say, Momo-chan," Naruto fidgeted. "I really like you, you know? And I like you, Naruto-san." Momo smiled as she ate her lunch. "You are one of my closest friends. But you see, I kind of like you more than a friend." Naruto could hear his heart thundering in his chest. "I was wondering if maybe you'd like to go out on a date with me?" He looked at her hopefully. "I'm sorry." Momo shook her head. "But I don't like you that way." "Ahaha," Naruto laughed, but inwardly his heart shattered for the 4th time. "No worries. Yeah, I get it." He turned away so she couldn't see his face. "Oh well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Is there someone else?" Momo's blush was a dead giveaway. "Man, what a lucky guy." Naruto stared at the sky. "Well, I guess I should cheer you on, right? After all, that's what friends are for." "Thank you, Naruto-san." Momo smiled softly. "Let's put all this behind us then." Naruto ran a hand through his hair. "Let's pretend I never asked." "Are you sure?" Momo asked. "Yeah." Naruto smirked. "Thank you, Naruto-kun." Momo smiled. Since that day, Naruto and Momo's friendship hadn't the same. They rarely spent any time together after his confession, and he liked it that way because it felt awkward whenever she wanted to talk about boys with him. He thought about asking out Marayama or Kates, but he didn't want to ruin his friendship with them like he did with Momo. Kaya hi. Naruto heard the screams of some familiar voices as the perverted trio ran past him. "Damn it, Issei," he growled. He hates Issei, because he always seemed to be peeping on his friends, and a few days ago he overheard Rias telling Kaneko to observe Issei. "I can't believe Rias is interested in him and not me." Marayama and Kates came running towards him. "That pervert tried to peep in the girls' changing room," a panting Marayama said. "I am going to kill him one of these days." Kates was trying to calm her down as she continued to rant. "Naruto-kun, please do something," Kates begged. "Why? I like when she is like this since she looks cute when she is angry," Naruto said with a small smile which seemed to calm her down before her face turned red. Kates giggled at her blushing friend. "Thank you, Naruto-kun, you always know how to calm her down," Kates said with a smile on her face. Naruto gave them fox grinned. "Of course I do. I am your friend after all." He, and a very good friend too. Naruto looked at both girls. They are the only 2 girls in the school other than Momo who seems to want to be around him. Sorry, Uzumaki-san, I'm not interested in you, the red-headed girl said. Sorry, you're not my type, the black-haired girl said. Stay away from me and my friends, you trash, the white-haired girl said. Naruto could never understand why they rejected him. But he will never give up on them until they've accepted him. Hey, look, it's Ria-sama and her group, they are looking at us. Murayama shouted in excitement. Keites noticed a blonde frown when Murayama mentioned Rias and her group. They knew about his attempts and rejections, but sometimes Murayama seems to forget about them when Rias looks at her. I've got an idea, how about the three of us hang out? Keites tried to change the subject. I mean, neither I nor Murayama have really spent that much time with you in a while, right? Naruto nodded with a raised eyebrow. It will be a good chance to get reacquainted with each other, Keites said, causing Murayama to look at her with wide eyes, uncertain of why her best friend had just said that. Are you sure about that, Keites? I mean, I wouldn't want to be a bother or anything, he said as he tried to turn around, but was stopped by a hand on his arm. He saw that Keites was now standing beside him with a frown on her face. Naruto, please don't leave. I know that you don't normally socialize with people, but please. You can't be a loner all the time. All three of us need a good break to take our minds off things, so why not spend some time together, said Keites, shocking Naruto. Are you sure about that, Keites? I don't want to be any trouble. Naruto once more tried to decline her offer. Oh no you don't, Naruto, I insist, said Keites, looking straight into Naruto's blue eyes. Whatever response Naruto might have had died in his throat as he could see Keites wasn't going to give up until he said yes, so relenting, he nodded his assent. Keites beamed at this, which made Naruto blush a little at how beautiful she suddenly looked. Now, just one more thing to take care of, she thought. Naruto, could you please excuse me and Murayama while we freshen up a bit before we head out, she said, and Naruto could only nod as Keites led Murayama out of the bathroom. Uzumaki-san, what are you doing in front of the female bathroom? A stern voice asked. Naruto turned around to see a beautiful girl with black hair styled in a short bob cut and violet eyes which were covered by a pair of glasses. She had a curvy body that most girls would want and a lovely set of C-cup breasts that are trying to break free of her cool Academy girl's uniform. Sana-senpai, Naruto shuddered as he looked at the president of the student council. I am waiting on my friends Murayama and Keites. I see, Sana said as she looked at him. Okay then, and stay out of trouble. She walked off, but then she stopped and walked back to him. Let me help you. She fixed his tie and left. Man, if I wasn't so scared of her I would have asked her out, Naruto said to himself. Once out of earshot of Naruto, Sana spoke to herself. You are too good for Rias and Akino, Naruto-san. Sana sighs. I do not know what you see in them to be so adamant about being with them. With Murayama and Keites. Keites, what were you thinking, asking him out like that? Murayama asked in a hushed whisper to Keites. People will think we are dating him. Keites glared at her best friend and answered, what am I thinking? Murayama, Naruto is orphan like us, and we know how he feels not having many friends. Keites reminded her friend, he has helped us every time when no one else would. He is our friend, and you know what happened between him and Momo. I'm sorry, I forgot. Murayama sighed, knowing Keites was right. Okay. I'm ready. Good, let's go back. Keites said. Murayama and Keites walked back into the main hall where Naruto was still standing, looking like he wasn't even sure what to do. Naruto, Murayama said, drawing his attention. But when he looked at her with his ocean blue eyes, she suddenly lost her voice. She was looking at him, something that, she now realized, she had never actually done before, and noticed how handsome he truly is. Murayama, are you okay? You've got a strange look on your face? Naruto asked, worry in his voice. At first, he was embarrassed when she was looking at him so intently, but after a while he began to worry that something may be wrong, and went asked her to check. Marayama, blushing brightly when she realized what she had been thinking, as well as noticing his concern over her, which was touching. "I'm fine, Naruto, really I am." She trailed off. "We will see you after school, Naruto-kun," both girls said as they walked away and waved at him. "Hey Momo," they said, seeing the girl walking towards the group. "Hey girls," Momo said to them as she walked up to Naruto. "Naruto-kun, let's go, class is about to start." Naruto nodded and they headed for class. The trip was not completely silent, however, as along the way Momo asked, "Naruto-kun, will you help me pick out a dress that will impress Dash?" "Sorry, but I have plans," Naruto said as he walked faster to class, not looking back and leaving Momo looking hurt. "Naruto-kun, what is going on with us? We used to be so close," Momo said to herself. Then she remembered when they started to drift. "I was a fool to reject you, but it seems I am already too late." She had heard their plans and in her jealousy wanted to interrupt them. After school, the three of them went out into town to find something to do. Not knowing where to go first, Kate asked Naruto where he would like to go. Naruto had suggested that they try the new arcade that had opened up in town. When they got there, the three of them were amazed to see people playing on the large machines. They spent hours there, playing the games. For each of them, it was the most fun they'd had in such a long time. They wanted to stay there forever but couldn't, and as it was starting to get late, and the arcade would be closing soon, Naruto decided to try one last game before leaving, the crane game. Putting in the money necessary, Naruto set about winning them each a prize. First, he managed to win Kate's a stuffed raven doll. For Marayama, however, her prize made her look at it in shock. It was a stuffed panda. She subconsciously brought her hand to her stomach. Kate, seeing her reaction, gave her a little shove, and noticed that Naruto had a downtrodden expression on his face. "Sorry. Forgot about the, Naruto said. Marayama, however, quickly snatched the panda from Naruto and looked at it. "Nah, it's okay, you can take it, since you love pandas." Marayama and Kate smiled at him. Marayama and Kate shared a look with each other before looking at Naruto. Wondering what they were planning, Marayama went onto Naruto's right side and Kate's left, and both leaned up to give Naruto a kiss on both his cheeks. Naruto was stunned at this and couldn't form any response. "Today was great, Naruto. I enjoyed myself a lot today, and that was just my and Kate's way of thanking you," said Marayama with a smile. "Yeah, we should do this again really soon. In fact, why not tomorrow?" Kate said with a wink, "And if that goes as well as it did today, maybe you'll get another thank you from the both of us." And with that, both of them left, leaving a stunned Naruto there. After they were gone, Naruto slowly brought his hand up to his face and gave it a pinch. "Ouch," he said as his cheek now hurt. "So, it really wasn't a dream then," he said to himself. He finally came to accept that it actually happened. He couldn't help but smile. And somewhere, deep down, he began to hope that he would finally be able to find happiness. "Oh yeah," yelled Naruto, punching the air in happiness. "So again tomorrow. I can't wait." As Naruto left the arcade, he hoped something good would happen tomorrow. Another place. Highschool DxD could not believe his phenomenal change in luck. The day had seemed so bleak after he had barely escaped being beaten to death by the girls of the Kendo Club. He was wallowing in his depression, wondering if he would ever get to see a pair of real live breasts when she came along. Yuma, a beautiful girl with long black hair that fell down to her waist and kind, violet eyes. She wore a short black dress that allowed a tantalizing glimpse of her amazing legs and a light purple jacket on top. She had come to him while he was moping on the bridge and had actually asked him out. The two of them had just finished their first date, which consequently was also the first date DxD had ever been on. Issei-kun. Yes, Yuma-chan? Issei asked, his heart skipping a beat as she smiled at him. "Ah, such a beautiful smile. There's something I was hoping you would do for me, to commemorate our first date." Yuma blushed and pressed a finger to her lips. "Will you do that for me?" Was this it? The moment of truth. Would he finally receive his first kiss? What is it? Could you please die for me? Eh? Issei scratched his cheek, his confusion more than evident. Could you repeat that? I don't think I heard you right. Yuma's smile became increasingly sinister. As she tilted her head down, shadows seemed to cast harsh angles upon her once angelic face. Could you please die for me? Without warning, wings burst from Yuma's back, tearing the fabric of her dress and jacket, leaving 2 gaping holes in the back. The wings were very large, spanning nearly a meter each in length. They looked like angel wings, except that the feathers were black instead of white. With a flap of her wings, Yuma shot into the air and hung several feet above the flabbergasted Issei. "I had a lot of fun with you these past couple of hours," Yuma said as she held out her hand. Light seemed to gather and coalesce at her palm, creating what looked like a long spear. "Dating a child like you was a nice break for me, and I'll always treasure this gift you gave me." She held out the small gift he bought her. "That is why I'm going to make this as painless as possible." She threw the spear at him. Issei, still in shock and trying to understand what was going on, could do nothing more than watch as the spear of light traveled towards him like a bullet. Fortunately for him, while he was not able to react in time, there was someone else in the area who saw what was happening and did act in time. Issei found himself shoved to the ground just before the spear of light could reach him. Instead of shooting through his flesh, the spear was embedded in the ground several feet away where it soon dissipated. Yuma looked both shocked and angry. "Who the hell are you?" Issei blinked at her words, then looked towards the person who saved him. It was a boy with spiky blonde hair, blue eyes. "Naruto. Are you all right?" "Yeah." Naruto let him stand up on his feet. After having a nice time Murayama and Kate's, he saw Issei and a black-haired girl he didn't recognize. He decided he would try to disturb Hayudu's date, that's why he followed them. However, he never expected he would save the pervert's life. The biggest perverted bastard that had somehow gotten Rias, Akino, and Kaneko interested in him. "Naruto. Thank goodness, man. You saved me." He tried to greet him. "Thank me later. Now tell me what's going on here," he asked. "Oh, you're Uzumaki Naruto, right? The orphan boy," Yuma said. She enjoyed seeing the blonde glare at her. He always hated when someone called him the orphan boy. "Oh right, you don't have many friends, except those 2 girls, Murayama and Kate's, right? What if I killed them for you?" At first Naruto was shocked. How could this woman threaten his 2 closest friends? Then he was seething. "Leave them out of this," he growled. Hee. Like you could stop me. A fallen angel." The woman laughed. "You should have stayed out of my business." Another light spear appeared in her hands. She threw it, this time at Naruto. Too bad for her, Naruto was not Issei. He would not stand there looking stupid while letting her try to kill him. With a level of speed he did not know he could move at, Naruto dodged the attack. "Naruto! Let's get out of here!" Issei shouted. "Are you stupid? There is no outrunning her." Naruto shouted back, "I should have just gone straight home." "Then what do we do?" Issei asked. "I will distract her so you can run and get some help," Naruto whispered to him as he dashed forward toward Fallen Angel. "Naruto! Don't!" Issei yelled after Naruto as the blonde tried to protect him. Yuma just stood there and didn't even move until Naruto's fist met her face. Yuma was sent tumbling backwards from the surprisingly hard hit. I didn't think I would knock her back so far. Naruto blinked. He never knew he had as much power as the girl hit the ground. The fallen angel sat up and looked at Naruto with a glare, which just caused his grin to widen. Yuma snorted. I'll admit, you're a lot stronger than most humans. She stood up and dusted off her dress, looking almost like nothing had happened save for the large bruise on her face. That punch actually hurt. However, this is over. She gave the now confused blonde a devious smile. You're already dead. What do you mean? Asked Naruto. Yuma didn't say anything, just smiled widely. Naruto, your chest. Issei said. Looking down, Naruto found himself staring at the spear of light that had impaled him through the center of his chest with shock. As blood began welling up in his mouth and dribbling down the side, he looked back up at the girl with black wings. When did you? When you punched me, Yuma grinned. You were so focused on hitting me, you didn't even notice when I impaled you. More blood began welling up in his throat. Naruto gurgled as he made to surge forward and continue fighting, but toppled face first to the ground instead. It was a miracle when he managed to at least roll over onto his back. The sound of footsteps approached him, and the blonde got a prime view of Yuma's panty-clad mound as she stepped over him and walked towards the stunned-looking Issei. Before she could get far from him, Naruto's left hand shot out and latched onto her leg. Yuma turned around in mild surprise. Oh, you're still alive, are you? I suppose that's fine. As she turned around and kneeled down, I hope you do survive, because I never meant to kill you, you just had the bad luck of getting in my way. She lifted his face and kissed him on his cheek. Don't worry, handsome, I won't kill your friends either. As she stood up and continued marching towards Issei. After hearing her words about not killing his friends, Naruto's vision began to dim. He tried to force his body to move, but he could not. The only thing he could do was watch the fallen angel shoving a light spear through Issei. As Issei bled out from the wound in his stomach, a small slip of paper that he had put into his back pocket and forgotten about began to glow crimson. In a flash of light, a red circle appeared from the paper. The circle hovered in the air, before it expanded as a figure came out from circle. Naruto's smile widened as it was none other than Rias Grimoire. But how did she get here? Does she have some kind of power? If she does, then is there chance he will be saved? Rias Grimoire looked down at the boy whom she had correctly assumed possessed a sacred gear, a powerful weapon given to humans by the biblical god. Now that he was dying, she could properly resurrect him as her pawn. Ria-san, a voice interrupted her thoughts, and she turned her head towards the source of the voice and was even more surprised that a boy was none of other than Uzumaki Naruto. Please help Dash. I'm sorry. Naruto blinked. She did not even let him finish. I'm not interested in you to be a part of my peerage. So I'm really sorry for what I am about to do. As she turned to Issei, she placed an object on Issei's chest, then another, and another, until she had placed 8 of them on the pervert's chest, and finally stepped back from him. I command thee, Hayadu Issei, on my name Rias Grimoire, live and enjoy your new life as my pawn. Naruto saw the objects were glowing with green energy that surrounded Issei's body. What is she saying? New life? Pawn? As he saw the wound of Issei disappeared, she saved him? What is she? Please, I'm begging you. Naruto yelled with all of his power. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Rias turned to look at Naruto. I am all out of pieces, and she grabbed Issei and left the place with magic circle. Naruto could not believe that his crush could do that to him. She just left him to die. Without so much as a genuine apology or even an apologetic glance back at him. In this moment, all of his love, admiration, and respect for her died, just as he was about to. No. I will not die. As he tried to gather as much strength as possible to try and crawl to the hospital or until he finds someone to help him. Someone help me, I don't want to die. Naruto said as he continued to crawl, dragging a wide pool of his own blood behind him. Please, anybody? As he coughed up blood, I'm not going to make it. He fell down on his face. I am sorry, Murayama, Kates, but I won't be able to spend any more time with you girls. Suddenly a bright light came from his tie, and it was the last thing he saw before the darkness took him. Where is he? Kates asked as she and Murayama looked around frantically, only to see their friend lying on the paved path, in a pool of his own blood. Naruto! Both girls shouted and ran towards him. Kates was the first one to reach him and check on him. He's dead. Tears came out of her eyes. No! Naruto-kun. Murayama fell to her knees and cried, not Naruto-kun, anybody but him. I am going to kill whoever did this. Kates as she held Naruto's head in her lap and her tears fell on his face. They are going to suffer, Murayama said as she looked at Naruto's chest and saw the hole that wound. It was made from a light spear. Those bastards! First our parents and now our friend. Kates said with enrage. Murayama knelt down and put her arms around Kates to comfort her. Murayama, Kates, I thought I told you to wait for me. The dark blue hair said. Sonakaishu, both girls said as they looked at their leader and student council president. Sona Citri was the best friend of Rias Grimri, and a devil that comes from one of the 72 pillars, the House of Citri. Sorry Sonakaishu, but when it comes to Naruto we Kates and Murayama both began. It's okay, I already know. Sona said as she walked up to them, that's why I gave him your summoning paper. So that's why he was able to summon us. Murayama stated in shock. To answer your unvoiced question, I slipped it into his tie when I tied it for him at school. But why did you give it to him? There is nothing special about Naruto-kun. Murayama reasoned. I thought you girls knew me better than that, Sona said as the girls held down their heads in shame. Naruto-kun may not have anything special, but he has a heart of gold and a never-give-up attitude. She took Naruto from Kates. That is what I want in my peerage, and I know you too are attached to him. We are sorry, Sona-sama, the girl said. Sona did not want to use any of her regular pieces, but she had an extra one that she was saving for someone special. I know you do not have a sacred gear, but that shouldn't matter. Sona said to herself as she took out the extra piece that was given to her by her elder sister. You are going to show everyone that you are something special. She placed the piece on Naruto's chest. I command thee, Uzumaki Naruto, on my name Sona Citri, live and serve in my peerage. Sona shouted as she pushed the piece into Naruto's chest. Few seconds later Sona, Murayama, and Kates watched as his chest began moving, slowly rising and falling with his breath. Murayama and Kates moved past Sona and tried to touch him. Wait, both of you. Both girls stopped, turned to Sona. He still needs to be healed. They both blushed at that, thinking of how Sona would likely heal him. I would do it myself, but I have to talk to Rias about the events of today. So both of you take him to his apartment and heal him as best you can. Hi. Sonakaishu, Murayama, and Kates grabbed him and left the place with a magic circle. After they left the place, Sona looked at the surrounding and analyzed it. The hole over his chest mean he was attacked by an angel, either on high or fallen. Then a smile appeared. You are a fool, Rias. You could have had someone with far more potential than that pervert, but you would not even give him the time of day. But I will, and I'll make sure he has the proper time and attention he needs to grow. With her thoughts voiced, she left the park in a flash of light. Naruto's mind space. What kind of place is this? Naruto thought as he looked around him. The area he was in had an orange mist blocking his sight. Hello there. A booming voice said. The sudden and unexpected sound made Naruto start in fright, before he looked around to see where the voice had come from. Who is there? The look on your face was absolutely priceless. I haven't seen a look like that on anyone's face for a very long time. Ha ha ha, that was good. Naruto turned around to see a massive cage that seemed to have appeared out of nowhere. The entity behind the cage was huge, about 50 to 60 meters tall. Undoubtedly, you're wondering just where you are, who I am, and why are you here? Before Naruto could respond, the entity continued. Well, the answer to the first two is rather simple. We are in your mind, and I am the great Kyuubi no Yoko. Kyuubi no Yoko? A confused Naruto asked. He had never heard of such a creature. The Kyuubi nodded, as Naruto tried to say something, but the Kyuubi continued. And as to exactly why you're here, well, you're my host who will gain all my power, Uzumaki Naruto. Your power. Naruto shuddered. He couldn't believe this was happening to him. Wait, why me? The crystal. I was sealed in the crystal that you wore around your neck, the giant fox said, and when it broke I went into your body. You still haven't answered my question. Why me? Naruto asked again. Ha 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 ha, because I need a body to survive since mine was destroyed long ago, the fox said with a grin on his face. Let's just say you got lucky. But I am dead, Naruto said as the fox started to laugh. Why are you laughing? You are not dead. You remember those two friends of yours? Naruto nodded his head. Well, they and their master resurrected you as a devil. What? Naruto shouted in shock. Then that means Murayama and Keites are devils? Yep, and their master with a girl with dark blue air glasses saved you, Kyuubi said. You mean Sana, Naruto said as the fox nodded his head. Forget about that for now and let me really introduce myself. I'm the Kyuubi no Yoko, the strongest yokai who faced and defeated the Satan Lucifer in my prime. The giant fox roared as the place shook, and I will be making you into something far more powerful than I ever was, not to mention get you all the attention you want, especially from the ladies. But be warned, the training will be hard and dangerous, the Kyuubi continued speaking while Naruto just stood there. He couldn't believe this was happening to him, the most unlucky person in the world, and he had the fallen angel to thank for killing him. He had to thank her for making him the holder of the Kyuubi no Yoko. Hey kid, are you there? The Kyuubi asked. Naruto came out from his thoughts. Forgive Kyuubi-sama. It's fine. I understand you're still thinking about how your life has changed, and will continue to do so. The blonde couldn't help just nodded. Well, it's time you go, so we'll talk more about the training later. Thank you, Kyuubi-sama, Naruto said with a smile on his face. Stop with the Kyuubi-sama, my name is Kurama, Kurama said. Naruto nodded his head. Okay. Kurama, and is there a way to contact you? Naruto asked. Just think that you are talking to me and think what you want to say. I'm in your mind now, after all. Kurama replied. Naruto smiled as he vanished from the area. The real world. Naruto opened his eyes, looking around to see that he was in his apartment on my head. What happened? As he tried to get up only to feel the weight on his body. What the hell? A blush spread across his face as he saw the naked bodies of his two friends Murayama and Keites laying on top of him. This is first time he had seen the naked body of any girl. He had seen Mikoto naked by accident when he walked in on her in the bathroom, but she was a woman, not a girl. Murayama had slim hips, with C-cup breasts, and Keites was a lot curvier than her friend, but the same C-cup breasts. Well kid, this is only a sample of what your new life will be like, Kurama said with pervert laugh. Naruto couldn't help but agreed. Thank you, Murayama, Keites, you both really are my best friends and two of the most beautiful girls in Kuo. Then a frown appeared on his face. Rias, you're going to regret leaving me there to die. Naruto quietly trying to not disturb his friends. To be continued. Chapter 2 Introductions. In school. Momo walked into the classroom and sat at her usual seat beside Naruto, who had Keites on his left and Murayama sitting in front of him. Naruto-kun, why were you running around in your boxers, and who were those two shadows in your apartment? The white-haired devil asked her best friend. Naruto, Murayama, and Keites glanced at each other. Naruto began to blush while Marayama and Kate giggled about the morning incident. Flashback. Naruto apartment. Marayama rolled over and stretched out as the rays of sunshine abruptly woke her up from her slumber. "Good morning," she muttered as she slightly opened her eyes. She sat up and sleepily stared at the bed for a while before letting out a yawn and stretching out. "Eh?" Marayama froze in her stretching position as she remembered that she was not at her apartment. Marayama shyly looked over to Naruto and she let out a sigh of relief when she noticed that he was still asleep and he was not dead. Marayama remembers that she and Kate have to heal him. "Thank goodness you're alive. We don't want to lose you," Marayama said and stated to blush as the sheet fell off Naruto, revealing his body that seems to be chiseled out of stone. "Damn boxers, she wished she could see more. Damn, he is so hot. No. 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 Bad Marayama, don't think about your friend like that." She hissed at herself as she looked away. "I'd better wake up Kate. We have to visit Kaicho." Marayama supported herself on her hands and bent over to Kate's, momentarily lifting one hand up to brush a few locks out of Kate's face. Kate slightly moved her head and the locks that Marayama brushed away fell back in her face as Kate snuggled closer to Naruto, if that was even possible. Marayama smirked at Kate and then ruffled Naruto's hair gently with her hand. He slightly groaned, which made her giggle a bit before dropping back down beside him and scoot closer towards him. She yawned sleepily, closed her eyes, and fell asleep again. Naruto slowly opened his eyes, finding Marayama's face an inch away from his. "Good morning, Naruto. I bet it was the best sleep of your life," the fox said as Naruto looked around. "What with two beautiful, naked vixens at your sides?" Naruto blushed at the word vixen. He knew what it meant. "Good morning, Kuruma. Please don't refer my friends like that. They are not mine, nor will they ever be mine. I do not want to ruin my friendship with them like I did with Momo. Yeah. A human's life is complicated." The massive beast sighed. Naruto tried to sit up and get ready to get out of bed, but he found himself being held down tightly by the two girls. "You can't escape from the grip of love." The Kyuubi rolled his tongue as Naruto growled. Ha, I couldn't help it." "Well then I'll just lay here until they wake up," Naruto said as he looked at their naked body. "Man, I feel like a king." As his eyes glanced down their bodies. After silently looking at the ladies for a few moments, Naruto's stomach growled. "Damn, I'm hungry." Naruto knew that waking Kate wasn't a good idea. She gets very angry when someone wakes her up. Naruto let out a sigh as his stomach growled louder. "I guess I have no choice, huh?" He looked at Marayama's sleeping face for a moment and then softly whispered, "Marayama, wake up." She was his only option. She wasn't like Kate's. When Marayama didn't even do as much as move, Naruto slightly shook his head. "I guess it's no use, but you know Marayama's face looks extremely cute while she's sleeping." "Cute vixen." "Yeah, and her lips look so nice." What am I thinking? I can't just kiss Marayama." Naruto gave Marayama's face another look. No. No way. She'd definitely kill me. The other vixen named Kate, she is also beautiful and has a body to die f. Naruto blushed. "Shut up, Kuruma. Don't talk about her like the dash." Naruto was interrupted. "Oh? Look who's talking. It's your thoughts I'm giving voice to, not mine." Ha. Naruto tried to ignore his comment, but it was true. His friends were beautiful, but not as beautiful Rias or Akino. What the hell am I thinking about Rias and Akino when I am with two naked girls? Naruto laid back on the bed and tried to sleep. Few minutes later. "Good morning, Naruto-kun." Naruto's eyes shot wide open as he felt the cheeks and breasts of two certain girls press against him. "Good morning," Naruto said and yawned as his eyes opened. "My, aren't we energetic in the morning? Marayama teased as she saw the tint in his boxers. Wow, was the only thing she could say. That's my line, you know. Naruto replied, not realizing why she was saying that. Is that for us? Keites pointed to the tent. Shit, Naruto quickly covered himself. It is you girls' fault for being naked. Keites and Marayama blinked for a moment before Naruto's words reached their brain. Kaiawaya. They shouted as they covered themselves as Naruto laughed. It's not funny, Naruto-kun, Keites shouted as she glared at him. Damn, Naruto-kun, Adonis would be jealous of your body and that Kakao. No, Keites, bad Keites, don't think about your friend like that. Keites began to look away, but suddenly she saw her friend also staring at him. Oh God, she having the same thoughts. I did not know our bodies would make you that hard, Keites whispered into Naruto's ear, sending a shiver down his spine. So why don't Marayama and I drag you out of bed so the three of us can have a nice long bath together and take care of your problem? Suddenly Naruto felt Marayama's hot breath on his ears. Just take your time with us, we are virgins. After all, Naruto's eyes shot wide open as he himself shot up as well. Well, look at the time. Keites and Marayama giggled and pushed him back down, then, Marayama giving him a sweet smile. Good, that was for earlier, as Naruto blushed. Now let's get down to business. What happened last night, Naruto-kun? Keites asked with a serious look on her face. And no lies, we will know. Marayama mimicking Keites. Last night when I going home I saw Issei and the new girl, Yuma, walking through the park. I decided to follow them to ruin the date, but before I could do anything Yuma tried to kill Issei. Let me guess, you saved the pervert, didn't you? Marayama said with a sigh. You should have let him die. Marayama. Keites yelled at her friend. He may be a pervert, but he does not deserve to die like that. You're right, I'm sorry. Marayama replied as they smiled at Naruto. Itai. Keites smacked the back of his head. That was a pretty stupid thing to do. As tears came out of her eyes. I am sorry, Naruto said as he wiped away her tears. It's okay, just don't do it again, Keites said as Naruto nodded his head. Continue. I don't know how she knew me, but Yuma did. She knew I was an orphan and that I did not have many friends except you girls. She threatened to kill you and I lost it. Both girls gasped as he clenched his fist. I came up with a plan to distract her, so I tried to punch her and succeed, but in the end I was impaled by the lighting spear in my chest. She walked up to Issei and did the same thing to him. Oh. Naruto. Both girls couldn't help themselves and hugged him, not noticing that sheet had fallen off and their breasts was pressing against his chest. I woke up to see Rias reviving him, so I asked her to do the same thing to me, but she refused and grabbed Issei and left. That bitch. The girls growled as they hugged him tighter. He was glad that his friends cared about him, and he loved it. Naruto was enjoying their warm hugs and breasts against him until Kyuubi's voice was heard. Damn it, Naruto, I am so jealous of you, and the worst part is that I can't feel their breasts pressing against your chest. Naruto suddenly started blush madly at the Kyuubi statement. His friend's breasts really are nice and wh. What the hell am I thinking? Naruto slowly and little by little broke hug. Our offer still stands about that shower, Keites said as she felt something poking her stomach. Do you want both of us to do it at the same time? Marayama said seductively. Well, it's almost time for breakfast, Naruto stuttered as he stared into Keites' deep teal eyes. It seems Naruto-kun is not interested in us because we don't have a womanly body like Aki-sensei, Hasegawa-sensei, Rias, and Akino, Keites said with fake tears in her eyes. No. Naruto protested, definitely not. Nope, not one bit. Marayama said and snuggled up against Naruto, rubbing her breasts over his back, causing Naruto to blush madly. What the hell are you saying? You two are as beautiful as Rias, Akino, or anybody else. Naruto covered his mouth with his hands, realizing that he had said it all out loud. Why you really meant it? Kates asked. He gulped as he looked at Marayama and Kate's blushing face. No one has ever told us we were as beautiful as Rias and Akino. Marayama shuddered. Naruto gulped at girls. Oh shit, I just confess to another friend again. Naruto sighed. Their friendship will be like his and Momo now. Ah, Naruto, you're really thinking about us like that. Marayama and Kates covered their face trying to hide their blushes. You really are our friend. Naruto couldn't help but stare at them with a dumbfounded look on his face. Kates quickly grabbed his left and Marayama grabbed his right. As a reward, we're going to please you. Naruto gulped and jumped out of his bed. I just remembered I had to do something. Kates and Marayama laid their eyes upon Naruto, who had a tent in his boxers right now. I'll be right back, Naruto stated and rushed out of his apartment. So he was lying after all, Kates said as she blinked at the front door, through which Naruto just left. No, he wasn't. He just a little scared because he never had any girl come on to him like this, Marayama replied. I'm a little scared too, but I'm a little bit hurt he left us alone. She frowned. Yeah. Marayama nodded as she sat up. This is first time someone told us that we are as beautiful as Rias and Akino. Yeah, it is. Kate said, but again she blinked. Did Naruto just run out of here in nothing but his boxers? Yeah, he did. Meanwhile, Naruto was running like a maniac through the still mostly empty streets of Kyoto. Aoiwa. What was that just now? Things like this and stuff like that don't ever happen to me. Naruto screamed at the top of his lungs as he ran as fast as possible. What the hell, man, you were so in there and you ran away. The Kyuubi roared. What do you mean I was so in there? The confused blonde asked. You're really clueless, aren't you? The girls were teasing you and you fell for it. Naruto blinked. They were? Naruto asked. Yes, because you made them all emotional after telling them how beautiful they are. The beast said as Naruto stopped running. Then you screwed it up when you left them there. They must be thinking that what you said before was a lie. Oh shit, I am so stupid. He realized what he had done. I will never do anything stupid like that again. Then why are you running down the road wearing nothing but your boxers? Kuruma mocked with a smile on his face. Huh. Naruto looked down and saw that he was indeed only wearing a pair of boxer Yua. Naruto ran as fast as he could back towards his house and hoped that no one he knew would see him. Sadly, and unknown to Naruto, his hope was dashed. Huh? Momo yawned as she stepped out of her bed and onto the cold floor, a shiver running down her spine. What was that noise? She walked towards her bedroom window, and as she peered outside, she saw Naruto run past her house. Naruto. Momo followed him with her eyes until he left her human eyesight. Was he naked? A blush crawled onto her face, and she quickly backed away from her window. Oh wow, I didn't know he was that fit. She activated her devil powers so she could keep track of him until he entered his apartment. Who the hell is in his apartment? As her eye caught two shadows that looked rather feminine through his bedroom window. Meanwhile, Naruto had reached his apartment and was panting heavily as he entered his living room. I'm back. Welcome back, Naruto. Kates and Marayama, now they wearing their school uniform. I'm sorry, both girls blinked. I just left you like that. I promise I will never do that again. Both girls smiled and hugged him. Yeah, we know that. It was just the first time someone told us we are as beautiful as the great ladies. He hugged them back. Naruto-kun Sonokaicho will want to meet you after the school to explain your role, Kate said. Naruto nodded as a magic circle appeared under them, but Naruto stopped them. Wait, after the meeting, can we hang out again like yesterday? The girl smiled happily. Sure, Naruto, just the three of us, Marayama said. We promised after all, remember? Kate said as both girls vanished. Now will you admit it, you're totally head over heels for them? Yeah. I do, but I can't risk ruining our friendship. They are too important to me. Flashback end. I don't know what you are talking about, and how did you see into my room from your house unless you were following me, Naruto said as Momo blushed and started to stutter. While two girls giggling, Kate whispered something into Naruto's ear which made him blush, and Murayama did the same thing. Did something happen between them? Wait a minute, those hairstyle, they look just like the Shadow's hairstyle. The gears in Momo's head began to spin. They were in Naruto's house? But why? I was his friend first, and I have never been in his room. She looked at Naruto and the girls laughing and talking to each other. Why aren't we doing that anymore? A small frown came over Momo's face, which was immediately noticed by Murayama. That used to be us. What happened? Then it hit her. Their friendship began to deteriorate right after Naruto's confession. After class in the cafeteria. As Naruto and the girls stepped inside the cafeteria, and a frown appeared on his face as he saw Kaneko sitting at their usual table eating her sweets. That bitch, how dare she take our seats? Calm down, Naruto-kun, we can always find another table. Kate said as she saw an empty seat. Fine. Naruto, calm down. Naruto, I understand you're angry about Rias and her friends, but remember you're not strong enough to take on that Kaneko girl, much less Rias. Naruto's eyes widened at his statement. So don't do anything stupid to get on their bad side until you increase your combat ability. Okay, Kurama, I get it, and thank you for supporting me. Yes, but I'm not the only one, your Vixen also supporting you. Naruto blinked, looking at his close friend's worried face. Don't worry, Murayama-chan, Kate-chan, I'm all right. Both girls nodded as they walked towards the empty seat. Naruto took a deep breath, calmed down himself as they walked past Kaneko to get to their seats when he saw one of her sweets on the ground still in its wrapper. He decided to tell her, Kaneko-san. Sorry, but I'm not going to date you. Kaneko said. She felt his presence without looking at him. Murayama and Kate were angry at her because they knew what Naruto was going to tell her. Ha ha ha, I wasn't going to ask you out, bitch, Naruto said, which got everybody's attention in the room, even Momo, who had just entered. I was just going to tell you that your sweets fell on the floor, as an embarrassed Kaneko face turned red as the students started to laugh. Thanks for the help, Kuruma. Don't mention it, kid. Murayama and Kate could help but smile at his close friend as they grabbed his hands and pulled him towards the seats. What the hell? Momo was as shocked as Kaneko. She never expected Naruto to ever say such a thing to Kaneko. You know what? I can't stay here any longer. Naruto got up. I need some time to myself, as the girls sit back down. With Naruto. Naruto sighed heavily as he laid down on the roof staring at the sky. This was what he usually do when he got upset or wanted to get away from everybody. Yeah, this is the best place. Damn, Kaneko had to ruin my day. That bitch, I don't think I would have said that to her yesterday. Naruto thought with a great smile. I don't want to disturb your precious time. But have you thought about if Rias finds out? Well, if she did, then I am sure Sonakaishu would protect me for the time being, Naruto informed Kurama as he stared at the sky when he felt a presence approaching and turned around. Momo, Naruto nodded at the girl. How did you know I was here? You seem to forget that I am the one who first brought you to this place. Momo smiled at her friend. When I saw what happened in the lunchroom, I knew you would be here. I see. Naruto said as his stomach growled, which made him blush and Momo giggle. That's the other reason I followed you. I realized that you didn't get to eat anything, so here. I had extra. Momo pulled a bento from behind her back. Huh? Naruto blinked in surprise. Thank you, Momo. He opened it and Naruto tried a bit. Wow, this tastes good. You think so? Momo looked hopeful. Yeah, this is pretty good. Naruto smiled at her. You'll make someone a great bride one day. Ah. Momo blushed. Hee, I'm glad. Naruto seen her blushed. I miss talking to Momo. Then give her another chance. Kurama said to his student. I will, but only as long as she doesn't try to talk about boys with me. Naruto replied, you know, Momo. Momo came out from her thoughts and looks at her friend. Whenever you blush, you look cute. With your nice behavior and great cooking, I'm sure that lucky guy would be the best husband for you. Momo blushing madly at the words cute and great. Sorry, I have to go. She stood up and ran away. Weird, Naruto remarked as the QB laughed as Naruto finished off the bento. ORC Clubroom. Rias and Sona has playing chess while they discuss the previous night incident. It looks like you finally got Issei Hyudu. Sona, make her move. Rias wasn't looking at her, just focusing on her moves. Yeah, I put my 8 pieces to resurrect him. I can't believe you went after the pervert. What did you see into him other than then sacred gear? Sona said, moving her next piece. Rias sighed at her question. Truly speaking, I don't know. I just want a person who possessed powerful sacred gear that could help me when the time came. Why are you asking me this again? We talked about this before. Sona nodded as Rias made her move. Era. You asking lot of question about Issei-san, Sonadano. Akino said with her regular smile. Are you interested in him? Sona did even answer the stupid question that Akino asked as she makes her next move. I am already interested in another person who is suitable for my team. Oh, you got another member, and here I thought you pieces were finished, Rias asked as she made her move. My extra pieces. Sona replied, which shocked Rias and Akino. What do you mean extra piece? Rias asked after her next move. Yeah, my sister gave me extra 3 piece, 2 knight and 1 mutated piece, Sona said looking at Rias. First 2 pieces I gave to Murayama and Kates after they defeated my other knights in a normal spar. Really? Then your knight are weak? Akino asked as Sona glared at her. It was their teamwork which beat my knights. Sona replied with a smile on her face as she made another move. So they possess some kind of sacred gear? Rias asked as Sona nodded. Okay, so what are their sacred gear? That is for me to know, Rias. Sona replied as Rias glared at her. So who is the person you used that extra last piece on? Akino asked, changing the subject. Uzumaki Naruto. Rias was surprised that the blonde was alive since she had left him to die. Ha 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 ha, you can have him, because he wouldn't have been any use to me. What would you waste a piece on him when he does not possess any form of power? Rias asked. Era that Naruto kid, I have seen him when he arrived and I could barely feel any form of magic energy. Akino said in a thinking pose. Sona and Tsubaki surprised they didn't felt his devil power. Did he learn how to hide magic power? But how? That shows how weak he is, Rias said as Sona glared at her. You must be thinking of Issei instead of Naruto-kun, Sona growled. Naruto-kun, Tsubaki said to herself. When did they get so close? How dare you, my Issei could beat Naruto with or without a sacred gear. Rias said when an idea came to her mind. How about little spar between Naruto and Issei? Sona came from her thoughts. What? I said how about little spar between Issei and Naruto? Rias said with a smile on her face. We can find out who wasted their piece. I don't think it's a good idea, Sona replied as she made her move. Are you scared my Issei would destroy your Naruto with his pinky finger? Rias said with a smirk on her face. I doubt that would happen, Sona said as she looked at her friend. I meant that we should at least help them to unlock their devil powers first. It's your funeral, because Issei would be unstoppable when he unlock his sacred gear, Rias replied as she made a move. Fine, how about we make it interesting? If Issei wins the match, then Naruto Uzumaki will stop asking Akino, Kaneko, and I on dates. Akino's smile widened and clapped his hands. Wow. Bucho, that is a great idea. I'm sure Issei would win. You're quite confident in your pawn, Akino. Tsubaki stated, adjusting her glasses. Of course. Sona sighed. She felt it would be better for Naruto to stay away from them and find someone new. What if Issei should lose? Then, Naruto will go out with Kaneko if he agrees. Rias was confident that she will win the bet because Issei possesses a sacred gear which makes him more powerful than normal low-class devil. I will inform Naruto about this, and if he accepts then we have a deal. A smile appeared on her face. And this is checkmate. Sona made her last move and got up. Better luck next time. Damn it, she always wins. Rias cursed her rival. But only when it comes to chess, not a fight. Are you sure about this, Bucho? Rias looked at her queen. Don't worry, Vakino. Rias got up, adjusted her clothes. I have faith in Issei, and about Naruto. She smirked. He may possess some power, but not a sacred gear, and that gives us a huge advantage, and if by some miracle he wins, then Kaneko would again rejected him like always. Akino smirked. Yes, Bucho, you're right. With Naruto. On his way back to class, he walked by the nurse's office, where he was suddenly dragged in by the school nurse. Aki is a rather tall young woman with bright blue hair and light brown eyes. She has a slender, curvy figure and giant breasts. Aki's primary and common attire consists of her wearing a large white lab coat which she keeps open, since she is a school nurse of the academy. Under the lab coat she wears pink strapless top which is openly laced down the middle, revealing a lot of her cleavage, along with a very short brown skirt. Why, thank you for stopping by. Nurse Aki released the blonde. Air. You're welcome. Naruto blinked as the busty nurse took out a tape measure. So why I am here, and where is Hasegawa-sensei? Aki frowned at him. Hasegawa was her partner in medical department, and here I thought you liked me better, with a pout on her face. What the hell is going on here? She was never like this before. Naruto thought to himself before speaking. I was just asking. Well, she is on her lunch break, the blue air nurse said. I wish she was here because she always seemed to keep Aki-sensei in check, who also seemed to be watching me, Naruto said. Oh yeah, and both of the nurse's breasts are really big. Oh, would you shut up? According to my records, we still don't have your physical results, Aki smiled. Now take your shirt off. Air, Naruto blinked, came out from his thought. Hey, wait a minute, I actually attended the last physical. You and Hasegawa-sensei both gave me the physical. You idiot, take the chance and tear up that ass. What? Are you crazy? She is older than me, and she only being this nice because of her job? Oh, did I? Aki tapped her head. Silly me. Yeah. Naruto tilted his head. Is there anything else? Well, oh yeah, have you been sexually active? OSHIT. Naruto felt his cheeks heat up. What kind of question is that? A virgin, I see. Well, I can personally instruct you in a few ways. Aki winked at him. What? Naruto staggered backwards. Is this some kind of joke? You're so innocent, Aki smiled. Well, it is my job to educate you about such matters. We already learned about that in sex ed, Naruto reasoned, his mind still trying to figure out what was going on. I bet Rias is setting me up for what I did to Kaneko. Ah, but have you tried putting one on yourself? Aki said as she licked her lips, causing blood to come out of Naruto's nose. Well then, Aki smiled as she pulled a condom from her waist pocket. Let me show you. She purred as she walked towards the blonde and put the condom in her mouth. What the hell is going on in here? As a stunning woman with a voluptuous figure with big breasts. She has hip length, dark brown hair, red glasses, and a beauty mark under her left eye. She is wearing a green sweater with a white lab coat over it, a short skirt and long, brown tights. Hasegawa-sensei. Naruto shouted as he ran behind her. Aki-sensei is acting weird. Hasegawa glared at Aki. Don't worry about her, Naruto-kun, Hasegawa said with a smile on her face. Just get to class. Come and see me later, Naruto-kun. Aki blew a kiss at him as Naruto ran out of the room. What the hell, Arg? Hasegawa held onto her head in pain. We were told not to approach him. Aki frowned. It's different. We were told not to interact with him if he was still wearing the necklace, and now he isn't. What do you mean? Hasegawa asked. He's not wearing it, Aki said as a huge smile appeared on Hasegawa's face. That means we can finally tell him, Hasegawa said with a blush. I wonder how he will react. With Naruto. Naruto smiled as he finally arrived at his last class for the day. I hope that Murayama and Kate saved me a seat. He enters the classroom to see the nightmare of all boys at Kuo Academy, Kiba Yudo being surrounded by the girls they like. Damn it, Naruto growled as he saw Murayama and Kate fighting over the seat beside Kiba, who was sitting there reading his book, ignoring them. You don't like him, do you? Kurama asked. Nobody likes that bastard except the girls. Naruto said as he walked toward them. Hey girls, what are you doing? Naruto, what are you doing here? Kate sneered at him. Can't talk now, Naruto-kun. We are discussing a serious topic. Yeah. Naruto, so please don't interfere. Murayama said as they fight over the seat beside Kiba. Naruto frowned at them. This is the reason why we hate him. He seems to have a power over the girls that makes them ignore their boyfriends and friends. I used to have that power too. Kurama replied. I don't even want to know. Naruto said as he went around the two girls and took the seat they were fighting over and sat beside Kiba. If Kiba knew he was there, then no one knew because he paid Naruto no mind and continued to read his books. Hey Kiba, may I borrow your notes from the last class? Naruto asked, but Kiba ignored him. Hey Kiba, Urza-sensei came into the classroom naked, but he still did not get any response. What is in the book that you find so fascinating? You don't even look up to see a naked Ezra-sensei. Naruto asked the boy next to him jokingly. Kiba grunted in response and not respond to him. Hey Naruto, would you get up and give me that seat beside Kiba-kun? Murayama pleaded at her close friend. No Naruto-kun, give it to me, Kate countered as they started fighting again. Damn bastard, Naruto growled as he looked at Kiba, who ignored him. What is wrong with you? You have every girl in the school fighting over you and you ignored them, making everyone stare at them. Not every girl, Yudo said, imagining the beautiful girl with long dark hair, Tsubaki. I finally figured it out. You are homosexual. Naruto shouted out. I'm what? Kiba shouted, standing up. The class instantly grew silent. All eyes were on Kiba, including Momo, Murayama, and Kate. No. Not my Yudo-kun. A girl screamed as she jumped through the window. You must be, or you wouldn't be ignoring the girls throwing panties in your face. Naruto replied when suddenly Kiba grabbed him by his shirt. How dare you call me homosexual? Kiba shouted as he lifted Naruto off the ground. Then why did I hear that you held Issei's hands when you brought him to the ORC clubroom before lunch? Naruto said as they heard whispers. Yeah, I heard that too. No wonder he never looked at me, especially when I wore that slutty swimsuit during swimming class. Yes, I have a chance with Kiba-kun. A boy shouted. Screw you. I'm straight. Kiba yelled, glaring at the boy. Is it true, Kiba-kun? Kate asked fearfully. Are you really like that? Murayama said next. Don't listen to this friendless bastard. Yudo protested desperately, but suddenly he felt two killer intent coming from the Murayama, and Kate grabbed onto Kiba. Let me go or else. Morning class. Ezra-sensei smiled as she stepped into the classroom. Kiba, why are you holding Naruto-kun like that? In nothing, sensei. Kiba replied, quickly regaining his composure, and let Naruto go before he returned to his seat. Nothing at all. Damn it, Naruto, didn't I tell you to not do anything to get on Ria's bad side? Kurama roared, but it was funny to see the look in that bastard eyes when you called him gay, ha 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 ha. Alright class, let's begin. Urza-sensei ordered, fixing the class with a stern gaze as the girls who was crying after finding out why Kiba ignored them. Could everyone please take their seats? Naruto, I want. Murayama called him, but she unable to finish the sentence when Naruto gave the girls small glare and went to the seat far away from them. Murayama and Kates were wondering why he was suddenly reacting like this. Seriously, you are that kind of dumb? The sacred gear of Murayama spoke to her. What do you mean? She asked. Nope, I'm not telling you, so figure it out yourself. The sacred gear said to the confused Murayama. Poor guy, I understand his pain. The sacred gear of Kate said. What do you mean by that? He is totally fine. She replied as she looked at him. He just needed to get away from Kiba-kun. You are wrong, and if you weren't so busy drooling over Kiba, then you would have figured out what was wrong. Kate was confused as to what her sacred gear was saying. Did I do something wrong? Murayama and Kate thought at the same time. After school. Murayama-san, Kate-san, where are we going? Naruto asked, still mad at them, so he dropped the chan off their names. Don't worry, Naruto-kun, you've got a meeting with Sona Kaicho, remember, Kate said as she realized that Naruto did not add chan to their names, but did not know why. The trio headed toward President's office. Sona has detected 3 familiar presents. Good afternoon, Murayama, Kate, and especially you, Naruto-kun, Sona said as she smiled at Naruto. Good afternoon. Trio said. Sona gave her queen signal as Tsubaki closed the door and channeled her magic into the room. Now Naruto Uzumaki, I don't know if girls told you already, but we are devils, Sona said as Murayama, Kate, Tsubaki and Sona all sprouted black bat wings from their back. It seems you have already know that, as Naruto nodded his head. You can do that too, Sona said. At that, Naruto turned his head slightly as black wings sprout from his back. The blonde narrowed his eyes and focused on them, getting them to flap a knit before some more focus made them retract. Now, I am going to tell you all you need to know to be a devil. Sona explained devil powers and how to use them. Naruto-kun, I need to talk to you in private, as Tsubaki and the others left the room. Naruto, I want you to tell me about what happened last night, and I mean everything, Sona said as she pulled out a piece of green crystal. This was a part of your necklace. Don't tell her everything, Kurama warned. I would like you to keep this to yourself for the time being. Sona nodded her head. A short edited explanation later. That bitch, she never told me that she left you to die, Sona growled in anger. And a powerful sacred gear is inside of you. Yep, Naruto replied. And it is the reason why Rias and Akino could barely sense your power, Sona said to Naruto. It has been suppressing your power. Yeah, Naruto replied as Sona walked up to him and hugged him, which shocked Naruto. What is this for? Because I want to, Sona said as Naruto blushed. Now, I met with Rias earlier. I expect the option about if I win, Naruto said as he looked at her. We will come up with something better. So Sona sorry, Kaicho. What piece am I? Naruto asked. You can call me Sona-chan when we are alone and you have the. Moments later. Sona was standing in front of Tsubaki, Naruto, and the other Uzumaki. Naruto, Murayama, and Kate, you will be on a special team. Kaicho, sorry I am late, a familiar voice said as she entered the room. Momo. What are you doing here? Naruto was shocked to see his best friend. Naruto-kun, what are you doing here? Momo shouted. I am a devil too. Naruto said. What? Momo. She glanced at her master. I'll explain. Sona explained everything to her. Momo's eyes widened and she was horrified at the whole story. She couldn't help herself as she ran toward Naruto and gave him bone-crushing hug as she cried on his chest. "Oh Naruto, thank goodness you're alive." Naruto smiled as he rubbed the white-haired girl's hair trying to comfort her. "Hey, don't worry, Momo. I'm all right, see?" He gave a sheepish grin. Momo smiled at him as he, "All right, damn that fallen angel, I'll kill her for trying to kill my best friend." She though as she hugged him tightly and enjoy his warmth. "Okay, that's enough. If you two want a room, then get a room," Sona said. While both of them blushed and separated quickly as Murayama and Kates as they glared at Momo. "Sona Kaicho, it's not like that." Momo tried to protest. "Yes, Sona Kaicho," Naruto said. "She is my best friend and nothing else." Momo was a little hurt at Naruto's words, while Murayama and Kate's relief that there was nothing happened between them. "But Sona Kaicho, thank you for giving him another life," she bowed. "No need to thank me, because it seems Naruto is more special than we thought." Sona has smiled at her new peerage member Naruto Uzumaki. She would do anything to make him happy. A magic circle formed beside Sona, and an unknown woman appeared. She is an extremely beautiful young woman with glossy blonde hair that covers one side of her face, which is tied in a bun. She has forest green eyes and has a very large bust. She is wearing a black dress with frills and white quillings which resemble an elegant Gothic Lolita fashion. "Sona-sama, it's time for your meeting with your sister," the yellow-haired maid said. She looked around to see the new girls and boy. "Are you discussing something important, Sona-sama?" "Yes, but we are finished now, so I'm ready," Sona said. She got up and glared at Naruto, who was looking at the newcomer Naruto. "Stop staring at my maid," Sona warned him. "It's really rude." Naruto blushed and rubbed his head. "Sorry, I couldn't help it. She is so beautiful, just as all the girls in the RO dashed." Naruto covered his mouth. He directly complimented all his friends and the maid. Hilda just looked at him with an emotionless expression. "Thank you, Naruto-san." She wasn't blushing like Sona and the others because Hilda got lots of compliments and requests for dates from hotter guys than Naruto, which she constantly rejected. She is not interested in any kind of man who compliment her beauty and not her power or brains. "Naruto, did you feel that?" Naruto nodded his head. "I was way stronger than that, and you will too." "Don't worry about Hilda, Naruto-kun. No one gets a reaction out of her except Graphius," Sona said as a smile appeared on Hilda's face. "Please don't speak that bitch's name in my presence, Sona-sama," Hilda said with a smile that scared Sona. "Naruto, we need to start your training now," Kuruma said as Naruto put up his hand. "May I leave, Sona Kaishu?" Naruto asked suddenly, which made Hilda look at him. Whenever she appeared, all the boys, especially Saji, would want to get close to her immediately. He must be hiding something. "Naruto, Momo, Murayama, and Kates, you may leave, but come here tomorrow at 7. Sona nodded. "Don't be late, you have training, and Momo, if you want you may come along." "Thank you, Kaicho." Momo smiled as Murayama and Kates frowned. "Goodbye, Sona Kaicho," Tsubaki-san and Hilda-san, her peerage said. "Let's go, Hilda," Sona said. She looked at her maid. "Hilda, Hilda." Hilda stared at Naruto, who was leaving. He is definitely hiding something. Hilda came out from her thoughts looking at her master's sister. "Let's go," Hilda nodded. Sona-sama, what was that boy's name again?" Hilda asked. "That's Naruto Uzumaki, the newest member of the student council, and one of the extra pieces my sister gave me." Hilda nodded. "Naruto Uzumaki, huh?" Back to Naruto and his friends. "Naruto! Wait!" the girls shouted as they chased after him. "Sorry, but I am busy," Naruto growled as he walked faster. "But we were supposed to hang out with us after school," Murayama shouted as they caught up to him and blocked off his path. "Sorry, I can't, but I am sure Kiba would," Naruto said as she walked past them. What are you talking about? Kate shouted as she grabbed onto him. If you don't know, then this conversation is over. Naruto pulled his hand away from Kate's. What is he talking about? Murayama said. I think I know, Momo said as the girls looked at her. You remember when Naruto came into the class earlier, as they nodded their heads. He tried to talk to you, but you completely ignored him for Kiba. We did not, they both shouted. Think about it. Momo said, and they began to remember. Oh shit, we did, Murayama shouted as they ran after him. Naruto-kun, we are so sorry. Kate shouted as both girls tackled him to the ground. We will never do it again. Murayama shouted with tears in her eyes. Fine, but just don't do it again, Naruto said with a smile on her face. Oh, hey Momo, what are you doing here? Well, I was wondering if we could hang out, a blushing Momo asked. I don't care. I promise I won't talk about Saji-kun, Momo said with a pleading look. Okay, then you can join us, Naruto said with a smile on his face. We can all hang out together. Murayama and Kate glared at him. I would love that, Momo replied as they began to walk down the street. Naruto. Oh, Kurama, what is it? Naruto asked Kurama, a little harsher than needed for interrupting his ass-watching time. The girls were walking in front of him, and he could not take his eyes off their asses. That Kaneko girl is following you. Which made Naruto growl loudly. What is it, Naruto-kun? Kate asked. It seems that Kaneko is following us, Naruto replied, shocking the others because they did not sense her. Are you sure? Momo asked. Yes, I am, Naruto replied, then a smile appeared on Kate's face. Naruto-kun, do you plan to ask Kaneko out again? Kate asked. What kind question is that? I already told you that I am over that bitch, Naruto said, catching on to what Kate was doing. I don't know what I was thinking. She looks like a 8-year-old for God sake, ouch. Naruto gripped his head in pain as he spoke the word God. Being a devil really did have a few drawbacks. Gross, the girls replied, unions. Naruto couldn't help but laugh when he sensed Ki from behind the bushes. I think our job here is done, Naruto said as they ran off. Let's go to that arcade again. Later at Naruto's apartment. Naruto, your apartment is big enough for 3 people, right? Yeah, it can, but why do you ask? Naruto wondered. He got it at a cheap rate since people don't want to live in this place because it is too old. Nothing, just asking. By the way, let's start the training. Yeah, I can't wait to kick that pervert's ass and embarrass his bitch of a master. Naruto clenched his fists. You are not ready to fight her just yet, but the pervert won't know what hit him. Now come into your mindscape. Naruto nodded. To be continued. Chapter 3, Training and New Girls. In Mindscape. Naruto is standing in front of Kurama to start his training. Okay, Naruto, before you acquire my powers, you need to build up your physical and mental strength. Yada, now I am going to train and show that bitch Rias. He pumped his fists into air. Kurama stared at the blonde and smirked. This child reminds me so much of you, Kushina. Kurama, hey Kurama. Kurama blinked and came out from his thought as he turned to look at Naruto. What were you thinking about? And when do I start to learn how to use your powers? Take it easy, kid. Controlling my power is not easy. It's like controlling the women in bed, which you can do if Murayama and Kate let you take them both at the same time. QB grinned in a perverted way. Naruto gave him a death glare. As I was saying, you need to focus on your strength and stamina, physically and mentally. Naruto nodded. Okay, let's start the training. Which training first? The mental one. Kurama said as Naruto nodded his head. I will download 10-year worth of fighting knowledge that will help improve the style that Mikoto taught you. After that you will learn how to sense and suppress power levels and how to control my yokai. Is that all? No, when you are finished you will have to practice them in the real world. Kurama informed him. It which you will start today. Naruto stared at him until he burst out, "Are you insane? Listen, kid, I may behave like a pervert, but when it comes to training, I become serious. Do you want to build up stamina through training? If you're directly using my power, then you instantly die. I see, and I won't be able to protect my friends." Naruto sat a meditative position. Suddenly the walls and big cave around them were melt, revealing a large forest, nice blue sky, and big green grass. It looked like a healthy environment. "Very good, I'm impressed with your creative skills." The blonde grinned at him. "Okay, let's start." "Wait, Kuruma, how do you know yokai?" Naruto asked. "I wasn't always a sacred gear." 7 hours later. He finished all mental, sensing, and yokai control training, which impressed Kuruma. "Well done, Naruto. You did it." Naruto heavily panted and grinned at his sensei. "Thank you, Kuruma-sensei." Naruto took a deep breath. "Kuruma, there's one thing I want to ask you." "Sure, what is it?" "Will you be mad if I use your power without your permission?" Kuruma raised his eyebrow, but Naruto continued. "I mean, if I want to show off or in a life and death situation. You're my host and you can use my power whether I allow it or not." Kuruma said as Naruto waited for him to continue. "It's my job to teach you how to use it. I asked you because I like to think that we are friends and I would not want to force you to give me your power." Naruto replied as he looked at his sensei. "It's your power, not mine anyway." Kuruma smiled at his host. "I'm really glad you considered me as a friend and don't know why, but I trust you to using my power very well. So don't break my trust." "I won't, Kuruma." A happy Naruto replied. "It's time for you to wake up." A perverted grin appeared in Kuruma's face that made Naruto sweat. "So how about I give you an awesome dream?" "No, I don't want on dash." "Sorry, but I already done it." A bright white flash appeared in his eyes. Naruto looked around and found himself in the nurse's office. "Naruto-kun," Aki said seductively as she took off her jacket, reveal her sexy adult body. "Why, yeah?" Naruto gulped. "What the hell? Why am I in the school's nurse's office?" "I want you, Naruto-kun," Aki said as she dropped her lab coat and then playfully took her pants off. "What are you saying?" Naruto blushed madly as Aki bent towards him. "Please, Naruto-kun." Aki's blue hair fell partly in front of her face as she stared at him with lust in her eyes. Without another second, she embraced Naruto. "Hasegawa-sensei. Help him dash. Take me," she replied with passion as she kissed his lips. Naruto's eyes widened at first, but he returned to kiss her. Naruto broke the kiss as he let his hands caress her sides, earning a soft moan from Aki. His hands traveled up until reaching their destination, her breasts. Naruto playfully fondled them, earning a couple of moans from the nurse. Aki continued to moan as Naruto shut her up with a passionate kiss, letting their tongues have a passionate duel. The horny blonde's right hand finally went touching Aki's crotch, and he could feel the wetness coming from behind the fabric of her panties. His left hand was still playing with her left breast, while at the same time he was teasing her erected nipple through the fabric of her top. "Naruto-kun, oh dear Kami, ugh." Aki grabbed his pants, his crotch. She could feel the huge erection through the fabric of his blue trousers. Naruto smiled, making the blue hair nurse look at him, gazing into her beautiful eyes filled with lust, passion, and sexual hunger for him. "Aki-chan." He kissed her neck as he continued to play with her breast, and his right hand started rubbing her crotch. Yes, Real World Saturday, Dream End. Naruto shot up from his bed. "Oh my god, Naruto, I never thought you had such a perverted thoughts about her." Naruto blushing madly. "Shut up, Ero Kuruma," Naruto yelled while Kuruma laughing madly at his host's desire. Naruto looked his alarm clock. It was only 5:30 a.m. Damn it, Kuruma, you wake up me too soon, and today is Saturday. No, I did not. Your physical training begins now. Kuruma laughed. Unless you want that dream again. Fine, I am up. Naruto yelled. Good, now you should go into the forest across from the park, Kuruma informed him. Sunday evening, the forest. Damn it, I can't feel my legs. Naruto said he had been training for more than 24 hours straight, only stopping to eat and drink, plus he had training with Tsubaki in the nights. Shit, I never knew I had to do so much. But it will be worth it when you kick Issei's ass and show that bitch that you are indeed special. Kuruma said as a smile appeared on Naruto's face. I think you should take a break now because you have training with that busty queen in an hour. Ack. Naruto moaned out in pain as he got up and tried to make his way out of the forest. By the way, do you remember the news about the third-year students who went missing last week? Naruto raised his eyebrow at sudden school topic. Yeah, I heard they were found on Friday at their house without any memory of what happened to them. Naruto wondered why his sensei would bring that up. Kaishu-chan told me, she said it wasn't devil-related, so it wasn't our business, so why the suddenly interest in them? You have a class project with senior students tomorrow, right? Naruto nodded. I want you to try and keep an eye on Maruyama and Kates. Naruto raised his eyebrow and confused. I don't trust some of the third-year students. But why? In the cafeteria, I sensed some unfamiliar magic and they're not devil. Naruto surprised. It was coming from a table pack with third years who were the ones who went missing, but I could not detect who it was coming from. How do you know they are after the girls? Naruto asked. I sense that same power following you and the girls for a while now. Kyuubi informed him. So either they are after you or the girls. Why didn't you tell me? Naruto shouted. I did not want you to do something stupid. Kyuubi told him. So why now? You have grown mentally and emotionally since the training, you know your strength and weakness. Kyuubi said to him. You will not do something foolish when you sense their power level. I see. Naruto said. I don't know who they are after, so be careful too. Kyuubi warned him. Thanks for the warning. Naruto said when he saw an unconscious figure on the ground. He ran over to see who it was when he saw that it was a woman. She looked like a witch that would be seen in a fairy tale. She is wearing a hooded bluish-purple robe that hid most of her body. Thank goodness she is alive. He checked her pulse. Kyuubi stared at the women closely through Naruto's eyes. I can sense magic from her, she must be. Kuruma, I'll take her to the hospital, Naruto said. No, she has magic, so take her to your house. Without thinking, Naruto grabbed her bridal style and run with her. 2.50 minutes later, Naruto apartment. The blonde devil appeared in his home and he put the unconscious woman on the bed and ran into his bathroom to get the first aid kit to treat her wounds. After finishing up, he went to the kitchen to prepare some food for himself and to call Tsubaki to tell her he could not come to training tonight. I wonder what happened to her. Dunno, when she wake up, asked her. Few minutes later. The unconscious woman opened her eyes blearily. She found herself staring at a plain white ceiling. She is in someone else's apartment rather than the forest. The woman's name is Castor. She had just killed her previous master. He had no drive for combat, but still dreamed of victory while waiting for the other masters to kill each other. She quickly gave up on him within a few days while planning to sever her connection to him. She made him use his command spells on meaningless things so that he would have no control over her. She acted as an obedient servant and filled the man's conceit in order to make him believe that she would still be faithful without them, and upon using his third command spell, she killed him with Rule Breaker because she did not like the fact that the contract still existed. And then she barely escaped from the Lancer who came after her to kill her. She blinked several times as her mind began the proper process of waking up. Castor used some of her power to heal her wounds. Where am I? All the room contained was a bed, a nightstand, a dresser, a closet, and a desk with a chair in front of it. Even then, only the desk had anything on it. If I want to survive, I need a master, but this time I will choose one who will understand me as a magician, not a witch. Good night. The blonde teen greeted her cheerfully as he walked over to the bed, carrying a tray in his hands. How are you feeling? Good night, Caster graced Naruto with a smile of her own. It was an almost unconscious gesture in response to the blonde's own cheerful grin. It seemed his brightness was infectious. A lot better now. Naruto set the tray down next to her. It was only then that Caster realized the tray was holding what looked like a full-course dinner, a cheap one, but still a full-course dinner. Sorry if this isn't what you normally eat, Naruto scratched the back of his head sheepishly, the grin on his face widening so much that it forced his eyes to squint. Combined with the way his whisker marks stretched. I would have made you a more traditional Japanese dinner, but I'm not very good at cooking and I don't have enough money. Caster could not help but smile. This Naruto seemed like such a nice young man, and so helpful too. He would be a great martyr for her master. It's fine, she told him gently as she grabbed the fork that had come with the food. Thank you very much for making this for me. You did save me, right? Naruto nodded. Thank you for saving me, kid, but for my survival I need take a mana from you and let you die. The caster gave him sad smile. Thank you for helping me. Can you give me a hand? My hand, why? Because I used magic slash. I wonder what she is up to. Caster grabbed his hands before he could reply and murmur somethings. Naruto's eyes widened when he seen her hands were glowing blue and started to take out the mana from his hands. Don't, it's not hurting you. The QB stopped him from moving his hands. She started to absorb his mana into her body. She was fully recovered in a minute. Caster opened her eyes and shocked to see the boy alive looking at her with spark in his eyes. While this is cool, can you teach me please? The caster eyes widened while Naruto can't see her whole face since she covered herself. How the hell is this boy could still be alive after all? I take out so much of his mana. The caster blinked. What is your name, boy? My name is Naruto Uzumaki. And what about your? Well, you can call me Caster. That's a weird name. So is Fish Cake. Well played. Naruto, she is a mage. The QB informed him. Are you a magician? The caster was about to kill this boy if he ever called her a witch just like everyone else. Are you truly mage? Mage. This is first time and someone called her mage and not a witch. Can you tell me why you refer to me as mage when other call me a witch? Because witch usually have green skin, pointy nose, hideous boils, yellow teeth, and ugly. You, my friend, are beautiful. The caster could help but felt the warrant inside. No one has ever made me feel this way before. It looks like I finally found my new master, now to find out if he has a drive for combat. Well, Naruto, I want to thank you for saving me and treating my wounds. If you want me, just say my name, okay? Before Naruto could say anything, Caster's whole body turned into small little butterfly and disappeared. Where did she go? Naruto said when a magic circle appeared and an angry Sona came out of the circle. Why aren't you at the training grounds? Sona glared at him. Well, you see, ouch. Sona grabbed him by his ear. For being late, I'm going to make sure you can't walk properly tomorrow. Sona roared as she dragged him into the circle. Kinky little vixen, I like her. Shut up, you bastard. The next day. Naruto moaned out in pain as he got off the bed. Damn you, Sona Kaicho. Sona had took over Tsubaki's place and decided to train him personally. She worked him into the ground. She would even give him 100 lashes for every mistake he made. Cuckoo. Kuruma laughed at his host. Damn it, Kuruma. Why haven't you healed me as yet? Naruto shouted from his bed. You didn't ask me to. Kuruma replied as Naruto's sweat dropped. Fine, Kuruma-sensei, could you heal me? Naruto asked. Okay. Kuruma replied as he healed Naruto. By the way, you are late for school. Damn it, Kaisha-chan is going to kill me if I am late. Naruto jumped out of the bed and ran into the shower. Then he got dressed before grabbing 2 slices of breads and ran out his apartment. He started eating one right away and put the other in his pocket. Naruto was running as fast as he could, using only his human speed, when he saw 3 cats, 1 black cat and 2 white cat, crossing the road. Ah, they are so cute. I am sure the girls would like them. Suddenly a truck came out of nowhere. It seemed the driver lost control of the truck and was heading for the cats. No! Naruto dashed forward with his full speed. The 3 cat was so shocked that they just stood there waiting for their lives to be over. Don't worry, I got you. The 3 cat opened their eyes and was surprised. They were on the other side of the road. Meow. The cat said and started licking his hands. You're welcome. He put them down. I will see you around. Meow. The cats cried. I wonder if they are hungry. Naruto asked himself. I don't have much, but here. He took out the bread out of his pocket and gave it to them. The cat quickly attacked the bread and was finished in seconds. Meow. The black cat launched himself at him and licked his face. Ah, you're welcome, ha 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 ha. Bell. I am so dead. He heard the school bell rings. I wish I could stay and play, but I can't. He puts down the cat. See you around. Naruto turned and ran. The cats tried to follow him, but he used his devil speed to move at tremendous speed. Naruto controlled your speed, otherwise other people will get suspicious. I rather they found out than I getting any more lashes from Kaisha-chan. Naruto replied as he turned the corner. I am sure she will understand when you tell her. The Kyuubi said when he sensed somebody. By the way, that Kaneko girl is following you now. Ignored her, I have to get into the school before Sona sees me. Naruto replied as he took a right, followed by a left, then went straight until he was at the school gate. Yes, she's not her dash. He crashed into someone. What happened? Naruto asked as he tries to get up and touch something soft. What are these things? They are soft and round. He started massaging them. That would be my breasts, Naruto-kun. A familiar voice said. Oh shit. He had recognized the voice. It was the same person's voice that he was trying to avoid. You are not only late, you are a pervert too. Sona glared at him. It was an accident. I never wanted to feel them. Naruto shuddered. So my breasts aren't good enough for you? Sona said in a sweet voice which scared Naruto even more. I didn't meaning like that, and your breasts feel good, I mean. I was messing around, Naruto-kun. I know it was an accident. Sona said with a smile. Wow, you have a beautiful laugh, you should do it more. Naruto said, which made her blush. She was always serious when he see her, so it was refreshing to hear her laugh. Thank you, now would you get off of me? Sona said as Naruto quickly jumped off her. I am sorry, Kaisha-chan. Naruto helped her up. I better get to class, ha 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 ha. Yes, you better. Sona said as he walked past her. And Naruto-kun, you will getting 10 lashes for every second that you were late. What? Have a nice day, hee. Sona laughed as she walked past a frozen Naruto. I love this kinky girl, coo. The Kyuubi laughed. Shut up, sensei. Naruto shouted as he ran into the building to meet up with the girls. One of the top of the building. Caster was on the building watching Naruto during class. She had enough mana to create invisible shield to protect herself from being sensed by anybody. She was a little bit jealous of her master have so many female friends in his life. Then she saw another girl follow him with a blush on her face. Caster applied magic to her ears so she could hear them. Naruto, I can't believe you have mastered some of your devil power already, her eyes surprised, but what she had heard. Naruto-kun is a devil? Castor said as she continued to listen to them. Kates is right, Naruto, and your strength really improved. It's really shown during the training with Kaicho. Murayama said. I never knew that Kaicho was so strong. Both girls agreed with his words. Yeah, and such a slave driver. Naruto replied as the girl giggled. It was particularly my fault because I told Tsubaki I could not be at training. Why not? Kates asked. You see, I was training in the forest when I saw a beautiful magician laying in the path that caused Castor to blush as they growled. Let me guess, you helped her, don't you? Kates growled, crushing the pencil in her hands. What if she had attacked you like when you saved the perv? Castor was wondering about this previous incident as she continued to observe her new master. Next class. Naruto and the girls was waiting for their teacher to arrive when Kiba appeared as all the girls started to drool. Hey girls, what do you seen in Kiba? Well, he is charming, handsome, dashing, plus I heard he has a... Murayama said. Don't finish that sentence, Baka, you're making things worse. Murayama blinked and looked at his friend. Naruto cursed himself, he doesn't have any of that. But he is not a good friend like you. Great, that will make me feel better. Naruto gave her a fake smile. Plus you are very supporting, helpful, caring, understanding, and have never give up attitude. You never cheered up someone before, haven't you? The voice mocked her. I think that's enough, Murayama. Kate said, cutting her friend off by changing the subject. Don't forget, after class we were supposed to meet and choose a senior student to help us with our class project. Yeah, I almost forgot. Naruto said as Murayama nodded. Kate noticed the something strange on his right hand. Naruto, is that a tattoo on your right hand? Kate asked. What tattoo? I don't have a tattoo. Naruto blinked. He noticed a red color symbol on his hand. I don't know how it got there. Could it be the doing of the magician? Kuruma said. I will have to ask her the next time I see her. Naruto replied. Can we meet this magician you can't stop talking about? Kate asked, twisted her eyebrow due to jealousy. I don't know where she is right now, but I am Naruto was interrupted by the sexy English teacher. All right, students, I am here. She has brown eyes, shoulder-length blonde hair that is tied by blue ribbons and a small ponytail to the right side of her head with the rest of the hair loose. She is buxom and has a curvaceous body with D-sized breasts that she loves to show off in her tight ladies' suit. Her name is Lucy Hartfila. Let's get to work, class. Lucy said with a very sexy pose that's showing off her breast and curvy body. All the boys instantly faint from blood loss. I love that reaction. All the girls in the school, even Rias or Akino, see her as a rival. Yes, sensei. All the boys shouted out of joy as they woke up while all the girls were glared at her. Lucy had a smile on her face as she saw all the boys succumb to her charm, her except Naruto, who was ignoring her. How dare that no good orphan ignore me? Wow, that busty blonde teacher is checking you out, Naruto. The QB informed him. I order you to bang her right now. I'm not interested in slut and people who loves to use others for personally gains. Beside, if I am going to bang any teacher, it would be Urza Sensei. Too bad I heard she has a boyfriend. QB sighed his host lack of lust. Okay, brat. On the top of building. I recognized that Manosaurus. It must be Rider class servant. Castor thought then a plan come in her mind. The Rider would be helpful for her new master. I'll use that weapon. Castor said. Period was over. Naruto stretched his arm after hearing an awkward language lecture from Lucy, who constantly tried to keep her short shirt from blowing up, causing the boys to pass out due to blood loss and girls to glare at her teacher. Naruto, Murayama, and I are assigned to Sona's class for our project. Kate said. That's good, so what about me? Naruto asked. Marayama and Kate glanced at each other and said, "Well, you are assigned to Ria's classroom." "What?" Naruto shouted. "Naruto, I know that you are pissed, but you can't back out or you will fail the course," Marayama said. Besides, Sonokaicho said if you fail the project, you will receive 1,000 lashes on each cheek. Kate replied as a scared look appeared on Naruto's face. "Fine," Naruto replied as the girls giggled. "Boy Naruto, Sonokaicho really did a number on you with that whip," Kate said, and both girls laughed. "See you at lunch." Naruto waved goodbye to them. Kiba had been listening and heard everything. "You will pay." He laughed. When it comes to Rias and Aquino was like their puppy. ORC Club. Rias, Aquino, and Issei is standing in the hall as the cat girl walked towards them. "So Kaneko, did you find out what kind of power Naruto possess?" As Kaneko shook her head. "The only thing I found out was that he has more control of his devil powers than the perv." The Nico informed them. Ria sighed. She knew Naruto Uzumaki doesn't have any kind of sacred gear, but since Sona confidently and accepted his spar with Issei, she thought otherwise. "President, is Uzumaki alive?" Issei asked since that blonde tried to save his life. "Yes, Issei, Naruto-san is alive and has become a devil for my rival team Sana Citri," Ria said. Issei relieved to hear that Orphan boy was alive. "But I want you to stay away from him." "But why?" Kiba, Kaneko. They told them the whole situation. Kaneko started first, followed by Kiba. Issei was angry at that part that he rejected Kaneko because she looks like 8 years old girl. That bastard Kaneko is perfect the way she is. About Kiba, both girls plus Issei couldn't help laugh at him. "Don't worry Kaneko and Kiba, I am sure Issei will get your revenge," Ria said. "And how am I doing that?" Issei asked nervously. "Because you are going to spar with him. If you win, then Naruto will stop asking Aquino, Kaneko, and I on dates," Rias informed him. Issei was shocked. He have to fight the guy who tried to save him. "What happened if I lose?" "I will inform you after my meet with Sana today," Rias replied. "Don't worry Buchu, Aquino-senpai, I'm sure I will win the match." Ria smiled at her new peerage. "I know you will do." Aquino walked forward to Issei and wrapped his arms around his neck while pressing her breast over his back. "If you win Issei-kun, then I shall give you so me thing special," she said in a seductive voice. Issei couldn't help but fainted due to blood loss while Ria's eyes twisted at Aquino behavior. "Do you really want to do that, da?" Aquino turned to her Buchu with her hand over her face. Era, sorry I overdid." Kaneko looked at her new team member and said only word. "Pervert." And Kaneko left. "Oh, there is one thing Buchu, after recess Naruto will be coming to your class and I am sure he will try to choose you or Aquino as his project partner." A smile came to her face. "Okay, I get it." "Era, so Kiba, will you be asking the new transfer student?" Aquino asked her blonde friend who was blushing. "Of course, and with my handsome face and perfect smile she will not refuse me," Kiba said as he and left. "Aquino, we need to increase Issei's strength and activate his gear," Ria said. "You are right Buchu," the vice president replied. With Naruto. Naruto entered the classroom to see that most of the senior students were paired up already except Rias and Aquino, who was both surrounded by students. Most of the boys surrounded Aquino with each pleading their case as to why she should choose them. "I can buy you anything you want. I have a big cock." "Idiots." Naruto shook his head as he continued to look around when his eyes caught Rias was surrounded by both male and female, each trying to convince her. "Please choose me, my daddy is a part of the school board. I will be your slave for the year. Damn it, I have to make sure he choose me." Akino said when suddenly the boys around her fainted as her skirt accidentally blew up. Naruto was still looking around the place to find a third year to be his partner when his eyes catch the one of the senior class student. She has black hair and wearing the standard school outfit. That girl's name is Rin Tosaka. She is currently staring at the window. I hate that bitch. He had accidentally knocked into her and cop a feel. He tried to apologize, but she would not have it and yelled at him before calling him a pervert. That was the first time he got his ass kicked by a girl. I better stay away from her. He continued for a while but could not find anybody. Naruto turned around to see that Akino was free and had a smile on her face. Shit, I have no choice or Sona-chan would whip my ass. Naruto said as he walked towards her. For the last time, kid, I am not interested in becoming your partner. A voice said. How dare you refuse the prince of this school? He heard Kiba's voice. Look, kid, I am just not into you. She rejected Kiba. How dare that bitch hurt Kiba-kun feeling? In your face, pretty boy. Ha 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 ha, that bastard know how it feels. I should go and shake her hand. Naruto said when suddenly the crowd parted and Naruto saw one of the most beautiful women in the world. Wow. Excuse me. A voice said. Naruto was knocked from his thought by the beauty. She has long straight blonde hair that reaches down to her lower back and ocean blue eyes much prettier than his and an unparalleled figure and large breasts that put most girls to shame. Would you like to be my partner? Who would have thought that this hot girl would ask you to be her partner? The QB said as Naruto nodded his head. Your life and luck has seemed to change since you became devil. It sure has. Naruto replied. Hello, anybody in there? The blonde girl asked. Sorry about that, ha 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 ha. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Yes, I would love to, but why me? He, you're cute. The girl replied as Naruto blushed. And because I need to get away from pretty boy. Wow, I never thought I would hear a girl say that. Naruto replied. I am not any ordinary girl, he. She laughed again and put her hands on his shoulder. Let's go to the library and talk some more. Okay, Naruto replied. Hey, he's going to be my partner. Akino stepped in front of them, leaking KI, so back off. He. The blonde said she was not backing down. Do you know this girl? Yeah, she the school slut. Naruto replied as he grabbed her hand. Now let's get to the library. I thought boys in Japan love sluts. The blonde said as Rias grabbed onto Akino, prevented her from attacking them. Nope, just the idiots. Naruto replied as they exit the room. How dare that bastard embarrass me in front of everyone? Akino growled. Rias was also surprised at him. I can't believe he did that to Akino. She looked at Akino's fuming face. She really scary when she is in that mood. Who is that bitch? Akino growled. All I know is that she transferred here 2 weeks ago and her name is with Naruto and the blonde girl. Wow, I did not know you reject Kiba 36 times in one day, ha 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 ha. Naruto laughed as they made their way to the library. Yeah, he just don't know how to take a clue, plus I am not into pretty boys. The girl said as Naruto smiled. If I did, I would have had a boyfriend from my home country of Italy. I wish more girls were like you. Naruto replied as they entered the library. They seem to wet themselves when he enters a room. Really, he, those girls are idiots. The blonde said as they searched for a seat. I like guys who make me laugh and not afraid to be themselves and not hide behind a mask. Wow, I really wish I had a girlfriend like you. Naruto blushed. A girl like me or me? She winked at him as he blushed even harder. He, let's sit here. As they took a seat in the back. Say something cool. QB shouted. Springtime youth. Naruto replied with a nice guy pose as his teeth shines. Idiot. The QB sigh. He funny and cute. The girl replied and held out her hands. My name is Erica Blandelli. What about yours? Naruto Uzumaki. The blonde devil grinned as he shook her hands. Fishcake, cute name. Naruto blushed at that. So are we going to start studying, or are you going to check me out some more? Wegahehe. Naruto blushed harder, if that's possible. Hee. She giggled at the red-faced boy. Let's start the project. 20 minutes later. Thank you, Erica-san, for helping me, Naruto said with smile. I thought I told you to all me Erica-chan or honey. Erica replied as Naruto blushed. It was a pleasure. I just know we are going to get an A for sure. Naruto did a pump fist as Erica giggled. Of course we will. I did not. You had a tattoo. Erica glanced at the mark over his right arm. You're a bad boy, Naruto-kun, and I love bad boys. As rubbed the tattoo on his arm. Naruto blinked before he could reply. Don't say anything. I am sensing the students I told you about around you. Naruto nodded. It's not real. My neighbor is a retired tattoo artist and I asked him to draw a fake one for me. Erica smiled that made Naruto blushed. You are full of shit, Naruto-kun. Erica said to herself. But we just met and I don't expect you to tell me all your secrets. Well, it seemed like our time is over. Erica said as she pointed to the clock. It's lunchtime. Would like to join me for lunch? Naruto asked. Are you asking me out? Erica said with a smile as Naruto blushed. Sorry, but I can't. I have to leave now. I have to meet up with a friend to get some information about my cousin. It's okay. And what happened to your cousin? Is he missing? Naruto asked. It's a she and you could say that. Erica said as she got up and went into her backpack. Here. What is it? Naruto asked as he took it. A sign of our new relationship. Erica said and Naruto blushed. It's called a grimoire. What a grimoire? Naruto asked as he looks at the stone tablet.